We cannot solve the problems caused by a system of domination with the patterns of domination. When we do so, we only replicate variations of conquering and overpowering and hyper-competition. When we expect to shift a pattern from the top down, the resistance is deep. It may be that no change ever really begins at a large scale, that change is always small and multiple, rumbling up from the ground. Well, we may be small, but we are many. In our intimacy with our own minds, embodied in our days, immersed in our households, engaged in our communities, supported by the biosphere that surrounds us, this is where we can affect pattern change. As far as we can reach with our own hands and connect, this is where we can set another pattern in motion. The pattern that we return to again and again to heal from domination, to subvert it, to prevent it, to reinvent and reimagine. The pattern that creates the diversity that sustains life on Earth. It is a pattern not of conquest, but of collaboration, of reciprocity, of symbiosis. When the scale of change is needed and the speed at which we must act feel utterly daunting, where might we begin? We can begin anywhere. The small work is fractal. It reflects and affects the whole. Anywhere the pattern of collaboration is applied, it ripples out. So we begin with what is right in front of us, what is calling us, what we're living. We repattern right here and now. Some of us are bringing symbiotic patterns to our eating, noticing what feels energizing and sustaining in our bodies, asking that our food be sourced not only without pesticides and herbicides, but weaning ourselves off of the industrial system, turning towards food that is tended in ways that deepen the health of the land and that of those who work upon it, live within it. Some of us are eating into wellness, and as we do, many of us begin growing into wellness, sowing the first seeds in a generation or two, reconnecting with that long history of growing or foraging or preparing a little of something from the land around us. Just the act of thinking of our relationship to food often leads us to reclaim a collaborative relationship to the land. Some of us are bringing symbiotic patterns to our parenting, noticing all the ways we can collaborate with who our children are and what they need. How all our needs can be met within the frame of the reciprocal. Seeing how practices might support the connective. We try things out, feeling how the family system responds to these shifts. These patterns of attachment naturally flow into reconsidering how we are educated and why, reclaiming more and more of how we live away from the competitive system into the collaborative. Some of us are bringing collaborative patterns into the streets, joining the movements towards sharing the road, with people moving in many kinds of mutually compatible ways, in finding the sheer joy of revillaging parts of our world, reclaiming the public nature of a street as a place to meet and play and connect and explore. We find abundance. We find that using our bodies to get around makes our bodies able to get around for life. Beginning with the simple act of choosing to walk or cycle or bus or the like, we find that the expanding collaborative pattern is the underlying design of happy, thriving communities, of feeling at home where we live. When we work with the smallest patterns within our curious minds, within our embodied lives, within our intimate connections, within our social and economic circles, within the living world that sustains us. We set in motion something remarkably different. You can find short films and small works like this one over at appleturnover.substack.com. I'm Elisa Rath-J at Apple Turnover, and this is the Journal of Small Work.